Kauffman, and I'm on a mission to connect with every creative writer in the world. And I need your help. The world is constantly changing, which is why it's our duty, no, it's our responsibility to inspire creativity. My creative writing tips, tricks, and strategies are gonna help you become a better writer, so that way you can beat procrastination. Do you have a story that you're dying to tell, but you don't know what to do next? I can actually help you craft a story today. Welcome to Kauffman Writes, the #1 creative writing stream on the internet for inspiration, strategy, discussion, advice, and maybe a little bit of procrastination. But don't worry, I won't tell anyone. You found yourself at Character Fiction Friday. I am so stoked to be here. I love character development. We are going to hop straight into what it does it take to create a character. I'm going to show you my technique and how I come up with character development. And then we're going to hop into our daily writing sprint. Today, I'm going to do a 30-minute writing sprint because I'm getting so far into Last Scarecrow. I really need to focus because this scene is going to be bananas. This scene's going to be crazy. Like, shit's about to get real. Still deciding how much I want to cuss on air. So that's what we got today. And by the way, if you're watching this on the replay, I got you covered. When the stream ends, I'm going to time code each section so that way you can skip so you can skip ahead to the part of the video that brings you the most value. All right, and let me hop into the comments. Atomic, happy, fabulous, fantastical, fictional Friday, everyone. I love your alliterative choice, my friend. If there's one thing I've been trying, I'm like, how can I come up with clever alliterative names for each word? Hello, and we got John in the chat. Welcome, welcome, my friend. And we got Marta. Absolutely. Welcome from Poland. Glad to have you awake at our time. And let's see. And Mommy Telly, as usual. We're getting the gang together for today's stream. Welcome, my friends. So we're going to hop straight into character development techniques. What better way to start off our weekends than chatting about characters? Like, oh, I love characters. I love them so much. So last week we actually hopped into some character tips and tricks for certain steps of the character development process. And by the way, I was like thinking, I'm like, all right, what are my favorite characters? I was like really thinking about it. Obviously, I've read so many things, watched so many stuff. I have like probably lists upon lists of characters that are my favorite. But on the spot, I asked myself, I'm like, what are 4 distinct characters from 4 different genres or 4 different styles of writing that I really appreciate? For me, my top 4, Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. Oh, I do love Game of Thrones. Don Quixote, the crazy knight from the classic story. From an animated series from Adventure Time was Ice King. I loved his character journey, absolutely phenomenal. And then for the sci-fi fans out there, the Doctor. Oof, I do love the Doctor, but don't ask me about the most recent incarnations because that's a whole nother conversation within itself. I would love to hear what your favorite characters are. Drop them in the comments down below. All right. And let's get straight into character development. All right. And on the comments, what's up, Stephanie in the house? Welcome. Steph, I hope you're getting a lot of writing in today, my friend. I know how much you've been like digging into that story over there. Okie dokie. So character development. So these are some of the things that we actually hopped into last time. Let me make sure. Fiction Character Friday as I play around with word choices. So if you joined us for fun, and these were some of the things that we hopped into. These were some of the things we chatted about. And it actually turned out to be really, really smooth. See it lagging on my end. Let me know, by the way, if it's lagging for you. I'm continuing. Hold on un momento. I've like developed some like live troubleshooting. All right. All right, just a second. Interesting. Okay, so what I'm going to do, one second, bear with me. I'm going to fix something on my end, which should improve the quality. I like always have to remember to close down all these unnecessary programs as a starting base. All right, and I don't actually think I need the problem, not the problem, but I know one of the opportunities because I predominantly do the majority of my live streaming. I use the webcam for the live streaming. In a perfect world, I will generate enough income at some point to invest in a quality camera. But until I get there, using the webcam itself limits the quality. So let's see, I'm going to adjust one thing here. One second. Okie dokie. I think a couple troubleshooting things there. So that should make it hopefully a little bit smoother. Continuing to play around with ideas to improve the quality. That's exactly what it is, John. Clearly, I got a trampoline going on over here. A trampoline stream. Every single time I jump, I just come up with a new idea for a character. Okay, so that should be a little better. I adjusted a couple things on my end, and let's go this version. Awesome. I like this a little bit more. Perfect. So let's hop straight into it. Kauffman is having technical difficulties. It's totally on my to-do list to create a technical difficulty video. Okay, so let's see. So like I was saying, last week, all right. Weird, strange that we're having technical difficulties today. I clearly, even as I try to fix things, it's still giving me issues. Let me see. I'm doing some troubleshooting on my end. Bear with me just a second. Okay. So I'm continuously adjusting things. You know what's funny? As I've continued to grow with this overall experience, the I think part of the fun and part of the learning journey of doing live streams is kind of seeing how the process can go and trying to troubleshoot things live on air. It's literally such a process. And I know like you could have literally everything set. Like the last couple streams, the quality has been good as I've adjusted things. And as of course today, it only has problems once I go live. So it's literally such a learning process. Let me tell you, doing this entire experience as a live experience has been such a learning process for sure. And especially when it comes to things like video and audio and then some of the production elements, you're like, you don't know that you're going to be struggling or dealing with certain things until you're like live on air and the experience itself. And I saw other streamers talking about it, and I'm like, yep, I get it. It makes sense. Okay. So let's see. My connection quality is good. I've minimized my hardware and the extra software running on it. Okay. So I think this is probably the best that we're going to get to today. Just let me know if you miss anything and I'll reiterate on it. Okay. Yes, it's interesting. Interesting. Okay. So let's get straight into it. And I'm going to hop over here. I have a couple things running on my other monitor so I can kind of troubleshoot on air. So trying a couple of different strategies to, diagnose. Always a fun experience. Okay. So character development technique. Asked. All right. And yeah, so oh well. Well, we will see what happens. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a screenshot. That's actually perfect. Excellent. As I continue to improve this experience, we'll be like, learning process. Okay. So as I hop into character development techniques and I think through what do I want to touch upon today, what is my process when it comes to kind of lagging on y'all? You can still follow along as I'll type into what I'm working on. So essentially my process, I like to come up with the idea for the character first. Like, what is the type of character that I want to create? What type of character inspires me? What type of character motivates me? Sometimes I'll use a character model for a pre-existing character that I really enjoyed viewing or I really enjoyed reading. And I'm like, I like that character psychology, but I can do it better. And that's usually like the challenge that I pose to myself. Okay. So I'll come up with the idea for the character. Sometimes I'll model it after a character. Let's see, psychology I enjoyed. I want to do better. So I'll call this like a personal challenge. If there's one thing that I enjoy, one thing I absolutely enjoy is challenging myself with different like storytelling techniques, whether that's like developing elements of story like characters, world building, dialogue, ideas. And it probably calls back to my upbringing with gaming. All right, so that's my first step. So I like to come up with the idea for the character first off. And then once I've come up with the character idea, all right, and making sure y'all can see here. So once I've come up with the character idea, then the next thing that I always like to try is I'm a mix of a plotter and a pantser. I'll go back and forth, and it kind of depends on the character that I'm writing. I like to just start writing the character. This is just something that works very well for me. I come up with the core idea, and then I just start writing the story, and I start writing scenes that come to life. Because I'm a completionist, and because I have to do things in like chronological order, I always have to start at the beginning. But that's not the same for everyone. So for me, I always like to start writing the character from the beginning of the story. And sometimes some writers like to start in like where they get inspired by a character idea and they start there. And that technique absolutely works for some writers. For me personally, I have to start at the beginning. And then as I'm going along the journey, I kind of come up with more and more ideas and this character starts coming to life. Usually in the first writing, I'll call this like the first, how many pages? I usually say anywhere between 20 to 30 pages. So let's say the first 10K words. This is where I am trying new things. But when I say trying new things, I'm trying the most new things for a character. And when that is working out, essentially what I'm doing is I'm making random choices with like the character's dialogue. I'm making very randomized choices with their beliefs, with references to their past, and with the way that they interact with the world with their actions. Because I recognize that this early part of the storytelling process, I'm just working from a character idea and a character concept. Usually after the first 10,000 words, then what I'll do is then I will create a character profile. And then liking about the character and which things do I really want to develop and explore more throughout the story. So then I will flesh out the character and which aspects or which elements do I want to explore more in depth. Okay, so then I ask myself which elements do I want to explore more in depth. Perfect. I was like, it's not a question. That's just a statement. Okay, which elements do I want to explore more in depth? And then once I have the character profile done, once I've like come up with like certain like core philosophies, which I like about it, I will have in, by the way, core philosophies, core ideas are things like strengths, weaknesses, favorites, little short bio about their background. Maybe I'll touch upon like family, religion, different elements that make sense to me. Now, I've touched upon character profiling before, and I know there's a lot of strategies out there. I'd be happy to touch on doing developing a character profile in a future stream, if that's something that would help you guys out. Okay. So now, as I think about what do I do after the character profile, then now what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to come up with like new ideas with the character. I have the core character profile, and then as I'm writing the story, I'm basically focusing on each of those core elements of character development. I'm focusing on each core element, on each core character aspect as I write the story. Okay. Okay. So I would say this would be my average and my general 5-step process. And for those of you who've tuning along and it's being a little laggy, this way you can just look at the overall process of what I generally do for each one. So kind of reiterating, I have the idea for the character. I start writing. And then start writing. And then this is like the first 10K words. And then I do the character profile. And then I focus on what works. Perfect. And I think this would be my typical process as I go about developing a character. Okay. So I have the idea, start writing the first 10K words and the profile. And I think I've been able to like boil that down into kind of like a 5-step process for myself that works when I come into like creating characters for my story. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. So yeah, I would say that's generally my process when it comes to character development techniques, which is super cool. Mm. Okay, awesome. And then let me see. So I recognize that this stream's super laggy, so it probably makes it harder to engage if it's laggy on your end. What I will do is on the replay, I'll do a little bit of editing with the to do some of the highlights because I think this is absolutely important information that could help you if you ever struggle with coming up with certain types of characters for your story. Okay. So that is what I got there. What do I have next? So I think with that, what I'm probably going to do because this it looks like the stream's really struggling today. And I know I adjusted as many things on my end as possible, so it's kind of unfortunate. So let's see. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hop into and change gears into doing the writing sprint. Okay, so we're gonna change gears over to the writing sprint, and there we go. I'm like been super excited to hop into Last Scarecrow. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna change gears over to the writing sprint. I've been working on Last Scarecrow, and I'm like super excited to get into it. This scene, I am like so stoked to dive into. Okay, and let's see. Okay. So let me pull up on my end. I pulled up that character creation technique strategy. I'll probably dig into it again in the future as well. And or I may do a video about There we go. All right. I know, right? It's like so unfortunate because I'm like so excited about character development. So of course the stream's like super laggy today. I'm like, of course. But what are you gonna do? Live and learn. This is called come experience some fun technical difficulties with me on Friday afternoon. And then you can kind of pretend to try to listen to me lagging over here. All right, awesome. And as you all know, hopefully I can continue to improve this. I don't have technical difficulties in the future. But I mean, I would say I would say of like the last couple weeks when I think about like the technical side of it, I've probably had maybe like 2 or 3 kinda laggier streams to of my recollection, and it's probably because I'm trying different things to see what's effective and what works. We'll get there eventually. So thanks for joining me along in the journey. I appreciate y'all. And by the way, if you're just hopping into the stream, thanks for bearing along with me. And I hope you did get some value out of the some of my character techniques I went over. If you did enjoy any part of the process, don't forget to follow and subscribe. I live stream daily. And I promise we're not having technical issues every day. So make sure to tap that follow and subscribe button. I'll be coming out with a brand new video this weekend, and we got new shorts, and I stream daily. So come join in the fun and activities. And then this weekend will be a little less laggy. I'm putting it out there. It will be less laggy. Atomic. That's a good, fantastical Frozen Friday. That's the highlight for today's stream. Today's stream is fantastically Frozen Friday. I'm just going to be like freeze every like 10 seconds, like, yeah. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Let's see. Today I got an idea of a new character, but he doesn't fit my book at all. However, I wrote down for my next book. Yeah, that's absolutely good. That's really good that you didn't discard it and you didn't like set it aside. I think by making a note of it, that way it'll kind of give you some time to think about things about the character that might resonate with you and things that you could try when you're ready to hop into that story. That's awesome. I'm glad you got a new character idea. Coming up with a new character for a new story, especially if it's a protagonist, is one of the most exciting things. I'm a huge proponent of leading my storytelling with characters first. So I'm always of the mindset when I have a new character and I'm like, you know what, this is going to be like the perfect character to tell a story about. I get so excited about it. And then sometimes I'll start doing the outlining and the profiling even beforehand if I'm not ready to hop into the story quite yet. Okay, so let's see. I got my end set. And let's see. So I'm going to pull up my end. There we go. We got Last Scarecrow all set. So by the way, if you're just joining into the stream, feel free to join along with me if you need to get a writing sprint done. If you're feeling like super creative right now and you're like, you know what, let's either get some brainstorming, writing, or editing done, come join the journey. Otherwise, feel free to sit back and I'll write vicariously for the both of us. All right. There's that. I got this all set. My timer is set. Let me throw up the music. All right, and it is time to write now. Okay. Wow. What a sprint. I think I set 30 minutes and I think that ended up going, I think that was almost 50 minutes. Might have been pushing an hour. Oh, man. Clearly, I was getting so into that part of the story. I knew that was going to be a very high stakes, high tension scene. Wow. Like, like I know we technically haven't seen what's going to happen, the resolution of this moment, but I really wanted the exchange between Scarecrow and the hag, the shapeshifter, to have this very like a mix between kind of like hopeful and yet very foreshadowingly menacing at the same time. I think I'll go back and forth on whether I like keeping it in like a void as compared to switching up the backdrop. But I was actually overall very happy with like the tension between the scene. And then the deal itself being that they're going to be exchanging a secret for a secret. And then that realization of Scarecrow, of them sharing that the secret to bring Quill back to life is actually Scarecrow is able to do that himself. And I think I painted it in a way for it to want it to be epic, a little symbolic, and kind of like this like intense high emotional scene. And I think I achieved it. It's one of those things where like I'll when on the second draft, I'll definitely have to go back to I'll have to go back and make sure that I actually achieved what I set out to do. Now, as I'm wrapping up here, I wanted to make sure to set this up for tomorrow. So, chapter 35. I was like, what was chapter 35? I know I set up, let me pull up my outline. I'm pretty sure I had already named it. I want to say chapter 35 will be after like what a scene. Chapter 35 is going to be an airtight escape. Once again, our heroes are going to have to be fleeing from something. Whatever is going to happen as the result of whatever Scarecrow just did created a shockwave that affected not only Quill, but affected every single character there. In the fact that Pebble, Gore, and Stretch are all suddenly affected, and they're all suddenly like shooting forth like these beams of light from their eyes. Suddenly, whatever Scarecrow did was uncontrollable. Whew, so we'll get to explore the resolution of that tomorrow. Ah, what a good writing sprint. I feel super happy with what I achieved. All right, awesome. So let me touch back in here. So I made some really great progress. I hope you were able to get some good writing done yourself. Let me see. So we went for a pretty good time. And by the way, if you've just hopped into the stream, definitely make sure to go check out the first part of the replay on the stream, to check out like the character techniques that I went over. Now I know there was definitely some lag and some technical difficulties, so I'll try to go back and see what I can recover and make it an easier viewing experience after the stream. Because we've gone for such a period of time, Let's see. Man, you're still alive. I know. Long sprint. That's what happens with a long sprint today. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the next part. Let me see. By the way, I wanted to do a shout out real quick. So as I'm wrapping up this production for this next video, it's going to be about magical systems. I want to direct your attention. You should go over to my YouTube channel, go to the community tab and vote. I've posted up a poll about what are some favorite magical systems. It looks like we have a couple answers coming in so far between casting magic, elemental magic, superhero, and light and dark. These are just a couple of more predominant ones. So go over to the community tab and vote. I want to hear your answers. And I'm going to touch upon it in the conclusion of my magic system video that I'm wrapping up. So go and vote. I would love to hear your response. Okay, so with that, go check that out. And then what do we got for tomorrow is the story reading and critique show. We love it. Hopefully I figured out all my technical difficulties by tomorrow. Our Saturday, the story and critique show. So much fun. If you haven't been here previously, come check it out. I'll be doing live story readings and reviews. Make sure if you want an excerpt of your story read to send an excerpt to thecreativeghostwriter@gmail.com. I usually say about 1 to 5 double space. You can do anywhere below 10, and it's whatever I can get to in a 20-minute period of reading and critiquing. I want to say right now we have somewhere between 4 to 6 submissions. So definitely make sure to send that over for tomorrow's show, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Super fun. It's quite an experience, so don't miss out. And I'll decide how I want to do the writing sprint tomorrow. I've been playing with a couple of different ways. So definitely check that out. And by the way, as you're leaving the stream today, don't forget to tap that like button. Let me know that you got some value out of today's stream, whether that was from the conversation or the writing sprint. That happens, Marta. I definitely lose track sometimes. That I want to say that happens like one in every like 6 to 7 streams where I just get on a writing spree. Let's see. You have mine at Messenger. Perfect. I'll add that to the queue, Marta, which is wonderful. John, I'll wait for another week to submit since you have a lot. I already did last week. Awesome. Yeah, what I always suggest is send submissions sooner rather than later. And I can just always add it to future queues. The reason being is I actually start receiving submissions from Saturday onwards. So then they just start piling up. You guys know I'll try to get through as many as I can. I think 5 seems to be my average. Sometimes I've gotten through more. I think I got through 7 before, but it just depends on the style of the story, depends on how much of a critique I have. It depends on my voice. So however much I'm able to actually like get through in a 3 to 4 hour stream. So definitely make sure to send those over. Now, as my thing disappeared. So as I'm wrapping this up,
editor, I actually do free
throw up the editor
critiques
ad
and
before
readings for
I
your
queue off
story
the
every single
stream.
Saturday on my live stream.
My name is sacred. I am Butternut. You want to minimize the chance of a reader being pulled out of the story and being like, wait, what's going on? Forget dropping to the drop zone. I'm dropping you guys now, but drop or die. I would go harder in on the language that you use when describing the technology, the mech, the air units. In a maze of unending grid-laid streets with no avenue of exit in sight, when I wake up from dreaming, sometimes I wake up silently screaming. Add or adjust some of the language so it matches Boschian landscape, mirror world, Shadowland.
Or if you're looking to hire an editor for your next book because you're ready to take it to the next level, I do full editing services where I'll focus on character.
The man froze for a moment, then nodded. Wolf, me. Wolf. I want to know more about each of the characters. Wolf makes me suspect that he's either father, a pirate, the evil antagonist, like the capricious nature of life's tapestry. You want to highlight and elevate that relationship between the two of you, that meeting moment.
World building?
I want more of this. Rhyming tone is music to the ears. I saw you're dead inside. That something happened I never knew about. And all those lies, loneliness, and us having to cope with it, relate to it, understand it, or fight against it is a very powerful message.
Dialogue?
He was surprised that this woman, of all people, was giving him a pep talk, because sometimes when we have characters who speak too much, it's easy for someone to tune out if they're reading it. And this is a really interesting world, and I don't want people to tune out on your work.
And structure.
Ben jumped up a little disoriented and grabbed his gun. Running to the stairs, he heard men yelling, "Who else is down there?" During this shootout, I would just add a little more detail, make this a little longer, because this shootout is fun. This is like the action sequence of like, kill the bad guy, pow pow.
So that way your book will be all ready to be published. And let's take it to market.
All right. So I wanted to make sure that I threw that up in the stream before I signed off. The editing video talks about what I do for the editing critique show and a couple of my editing services. So thank you so much all for joining me on the stream today through the writing sprint, the conversation, and some of the technical difficulties. I appreciate you. That is all that I got for you today. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kauffman, and I'll catch you on the morrow.